Hey, welcome to the Simple Nutrition Podcast, a show that helps you learn practical and actual nutrition tips from an expert. I am your host, Leonila Campos, a registered dietitian with over 8 years of experience in the nutrition field. Hey, welcome back to another episode in the Simple Nutrition Insights Podcast. I am your host, Leonila Campos, registered dietitian. And today I want to talk about a topic that I talked about last year, probably around this time, maybe earlier. But it is interesting how trends work. It is interesting how diets work because they do go through phases, right? Like you have a phase where like a ton of people are doing it and then it dies out, right? And then next year comes around and the same thing. So I've been seeing more and more about this diet specifically. And more of my clients have asked me. So I say, you know what? It seems like it's trending again. And that is the carnivore diet. So if you haven't heard about it, that's probably a good thing. But the carnivore diet basically eliminates all plant-based foods and it's just all animal products, right? It might sound simple, but is it safe? As a dietitian, I have serious concerns, especially regarding nutrient deficiencies and the long-term health risk of cutting out fiber, including an increased risk of cancer. So let's break it down. I'm going to give you the information that you need, right? The knowledge that you need, research-backed information, because I want you to make an informed decision. And in order to do that, you have to have the right information, right? Not information that a friend gave you or an influencer gave you or someone that says, gives you these claims that are probably not true, right? So you have to have the right information to really, really, and truly make an informed decision. Ultimately, in the end, it's your decision, so you do whatever you want to do. So for those unfamiliar, the carnivore diet is an all-meat diet, strictly animal-based foods like beef, chicken, fish, eggs, and some dairy. It's missing your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. Basically, every source of fiber and a wide variety of essential vitamins and minerals. Many people claim they feel great on this diet, but short-term benefits do not outweigh long-term consequences. Without fiber and key micronutrients, this diet may actually put people at a higher risk of serious health issues, including colorectal cancer. Now, oftentimes we focus on the short-term wins, right? Or I don't even know if I call them wins, but on the short-term effects, right? So if we're looking at a diet because we want to lose weight, we look at how fast we do it, right? Or we look at the short-term results, but we don't look at the long term, right? Like if I continue to do this for the rest of my life, what are the health consequences, right? What are the health risks? And I don't think that you want to find out being on the carnivore diet, because that means that you can potentially develop cancer, colorectal cancer. Of course, you don't want to mess with that, right? But your deficiencies, you don't see those happening right away, right? Like it's not going to happen in a year. It's not going to happen in 2 years. You'll start to see in a longer period of time, right? Because you're not adding these nutrients that your body needs. And it literally goes against everything we have learned in nutrition, right? And all the research that has been done to back up the 5 food groups, right? I know some people have said that my pyramid, bro, that has been phased out many years ago, right? We don't use the pyramid as dietitians. We haven't used the pyramid in so many years. It's the my plate, it's the 5 food groups. It's, making these balanced meals because it shows that when we do add those 5 food groups, we get the nutrients that our bodies need without having to supplement if we don't need to. I have also heard, oh, well, if you just go into the carnivore diet, you can supplement. Okay, that is, we want to do that. Imagine how many pills you have to take to be able to supplement everything that you're not getting from all the other 4 food groups that you're eliminating, right? Now, what I always tell my clients, a supplement is just that, right? It's going to fill in the gap that you're not getting from your food for whatever reason, right? It shouldn't be a significant amount because we should be getting the nutrients from food. And the supplement is just in case you're not getting it, right? Now, the other thing too is that supplements, your body's not going to absorb everything at 100% in the supplement, right? It's just going to absorb whatever it needs, and that is it. But you're only getting what's on the supplement, right? So for example, if you're like, well, I just take a fiber supplement, okay, that is it, right? If we add the actual food, right, your plant sources, they're going to give you more than the fiber. They're going to give you antioxidants and phytochemicals and prebiotic fiber, right? And some are going to give you some probiotic. So it gives you a wide variety of other nutrients than just taking a fiber supplement or just taking a vitamin B supplement, whatever. So the food will give you so many other nutrients other than just the specific nutrient, right? Macronutrient that you're not getting. But the other thing too is that is your body really absorbing it, right? And to what extent? So definitely keep those things in mind. Now, let's focus a little bit on the danger of nutrient deficiencies. Let's talk about what's missing when you eliminate plant-based foods. Vitamin C deficiency. Vitamin C is crucial for immune function, collagen production, and iron absorption. Without fruits and vegetables, you risk developing scurvy, a disease of vitamin C deficiency that leads to fatigue, gum disease, and poor wound healing. There was a case, this is many years ago, but there was a case when I think a ship was traveling from like Europe to America, and they didn't have any fruits and vegetables, right? They were essentially eating the carnivore diet. And they were trying to figure out when they arrived, they were trying to figure out why is it that they were having, impaired wound healing and they were having gum disease. And it was because of vitamin C deficiency, scurvy, right? That's how it came about. And so just by adding some of those fruits and vegetables, that was resolved. So you can look it up, look up scurvy and, the history behind it. I'm not making this up. And so that can absolutely happen. Now you might say, well, I'll just take a vitamin C supplement, right? And your body will absorb whatever it needs. But too much vitamin C, right? Let's say from a supplement, you really usually don't worry from food sources, right? Because your body is so efficient at metabolizing that, using what it needs, and then getting rid of it through the urine, through your kidneys. But a high dose of vitamin C on a consistent basis, right, can lead to kidney stones, right? So I don't think you want kidney stones. And then on top of that, if you are increasing your meat intake, right, that can also increase your uric acid, which can lead to gout, but also can cause kidney stones, right? So see where I'm going here? Versus getting it from your food sources. Folate deficiency. Folate is found in leafy greens, beans, and fortified grains. Folate is essential for DNA synthesis and cell repair. Now, folate is extremely essential for women of childbearing age or for women that are hoping to get pregnant, right? There's usually, in this case, there is a need for a supplement of folic acid because it helps with prevents neural tube defects, right? Like spina bifida, because there's a fast turnaround in DNA, right? You're creating a human being. And so sometimes we're not able to get enough from food, and so you have to supplement. But, for the general population, getting it from these food sources, again, you're not only going to get the folate, right, where you're going to get other nutrients, but low folate levels, having linked to higher risk of cancers, particularly colorectal cancer. So think about that. Antioxidant deficiencies. Your antioxidants such as vitamin A, E, and phytonutrients from plants help protect cells from damage. Without them, the body is more susceptible to oxidative stress. which can contribute to chronic disease, including cancer and heart disease. Now, vitamin A and E are your fat-soluble vitamins. There is a risk, right, of getting too much from a supplement. Again, because usually in a supplement, especially if it goes over 100% of the daily value, basically what you need in a day, it stores in your fat cells, and the more that you take, the more you store, and it could get into toxicity levels, right? So versus with food, again, your body utilizes what it needs and then you get rid of it. But you also store some of it in your fat cells, but not significantly versus when you take a supplement that is a higher amount. Now, your antioxidants, which is your vitamin A and E and your phytonutrients, there are so many other ones, but these are just a few from plant sources. Think of it as like a little fighter, right? The antioxidants that are protecting your cells from damage. So this is at a cellular level, right? There's a lot of oxidative stress because of actual chronic stress, because of the environment, because of other toxins. And so those nutrients, right, those antioxidants are healing and protecting your cells from that increase in oxidative stress. Free radicals, right, that damage the cells. So we need them, right? These are things that we need on a day-to-day basis coming from food, right? Because we get these phytonutrients, right, from our plant sources. Lack of prebiotics for gut health. Prebiotics are found in fiber-rich foods that feed beneficial gut bacteria or your gut microbiome. Without them, the gut microbiome is compromised, leading to inflammation and an increased risk of metabolic disorders. I did an episode on microbiome and the importance of it. These little microbes, right, is the bacteria that we have in our gut. They protect us, right? They have so many functions, but specifically with inflammation, right? They keep inflammation down. They fight inflammation. They help with the oxidative stress. But they need fuel, right? And the fuel is going to come from plant sources. It's going to come from the prebiotic fiber, right? And so without that, right, if we're not feeding the microbiome, it starts to die out, but it also, some of them start to eat on that lining of the stomach, right? And that mucosal lining of the stomach, which is the protective barrier, right, that protects from the lining of the stomach into the bloodstream. So that increases inflammation, but there's also a higher risk of getting more infections, of getting more diseases, metabolic conditions. And it's because we're not feeding them, right, the prebiotic fiber that we get from plant sources. And that is dangerous, right? Because we have all these things happening. And again, they're not going to happen right away. It's going to be a progression. It's going to be chronic, right, long term. And when you do catch it, sometimes it's too late, right? And why do we want to mess with that? Let's focus a little bit more on the critical role of fiber in cancer prevention. One of the biggest red flags with the carnivore diet, as we mentioned, is the complete elimination of dietary fiber. Here's the risk, or here's the why fiber is not a non-negotiable for long-term health. Specifically for colon health and cancer prevention. Fiber helps keep the digestive tract moving, reducing the time waste that sits in the colon, right? Because when you think about constipation, that means that when you don't go to the restroom for number 2, to have a bowel movement, that means that the waste, right? Because you continue to eat and your body continues to metabolize and digest food and it creates waste. That waste travels to the colon, right? Into the large intestine, into the colon to be, removed. If that is not happening daily, I'm telling you, daily, you have to go poop daily. If that is not happening daily, that waste is just sitting in your colon, in your large intestine, right? So these toxins are just, just there, getting absorbed, just there, right? Essentially damaging the colon. And so if you have constipation, you have to look at your fiber intake and your hydration, right? And if that doesn't improve, right, working with your GI specialist to figure out why. right? Because we have to be having a bowel movement daily, unless if you're, not eating very much, or there are other, health conditions that, you don't go to the restroom as often, but when you do go, it's not actual constipation. You still have, a form such like bowel movement. There's no straining, then we're okay. If you're having issues, not so much with that, but using your pelvic muscles to be able to eliminate, then work with a pelvic floor specialist, because that's more so of a, and I'm sure my physical therapist friends are going to kill me for that, but I don't know the right word, right? But that is the structural part of your pelvic floor, right? So there are resources there that you can have, that they can help you with that if that is the problem. So the World Cancer Research Fund and the American Institute for Cancer Research confirmed that high fiber intake lowers the risk of colorectal cancer. As it makes sense, because if you're having fiber and you're drinking enough water and you're using the restroom daily, right, having those nicely formed bowel movements, and essentially you're eliminating the waste, right? Whatever your body is not using, the dead cells through your digestive tract, whatever toxins are in your digestive system, you remove them when you have a bowel movement, right? And that's perfect because it's out and you don't have to worry about it. Without fiber, harmful toxins and carcinogens have prolonged contact with the intestinal lining, increasing the risk of DNA damage and tumor formation. So again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you have constipation, if you have issues or trouble going to the restroom, if you don't go to the restroom daily and have a nice formed bowel movement, please talk to your doctor, talk to your dietitian, talk to your GI specialist, your pelvic floor specialist, to try to figure out why that is the case. Short chain fatty acid and inflammation. When fiber ferments in the gut, it produces short chain fatty acids like butyrate, which have anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer properties. A fiber-free diet, meaning that you're not adding any fiber, like in the carnivore diet, it reduces butyrate production, leading to increased inflammation and potential tumor growth. Gut microbiome and immune function. Fiber feeds good gut bacteria, as I mentioned, helping maintain a balanced microbiome. Diets high in red meat and low in fiber shift the microbiome toward inflammation and disease risk. So, when we remove fiber entirely, we're removing one of the strongest natural protectors against colorectal cancer. That is powerful. So when you think about not adding your fiber, think about that risk, right? And if you already have risk or history of cancer or colorectal cancer, you don't want to mess with that, right? Because you're removing something that is so powerful and that is protecting you. Right? It's protecting your system. It's protecting your entire, human being, human body. So who should be concerned? This isn't just about theoretical risk. Studies have shown real consequences of low fiber, high meat diets. A 2015 study from the World Health Organization classified processed meats as a group 1 carcinogen, meaning that there's strong evidence they cause cancer. Red meat is classified as a probable carcinogen with excessive intake linked to higher colorectal cancer risk. A 2023 study in the Lancet confirmed that fiber-rich diets lower the risk of many chronic diseases, including heart disease and colorectal cancer. So I didn't really talk about the risk of heart health, right, or cardiovascular health. When you increase your animal products, right, you're going to increase, or respectively, you're going to increase the amount of saturated fat that you're consuming, the amount of trans fat that you're consuming, and the amount of cholesterol that you're consuming. So if you already have issues with cholesterol, you're multiplying that by a lot, right? Because now you are increasing that intake, but also eliminating the fiber, which the fiber helps to lower cholesterol. So imagine how much work, how much a risk you're putting your heart and your cardiovascular health by doing that, right? And I know there's so many influencers, there's so many people, even a doctor that says, don't worry about your cholesterol. Oh my gosh. That, I don't even know. I can't even talk about that. But if someone says, don't worry about your cholesterol and your heart health, you should not listen to them, right? Because there's so much research in so much literature that shows that we should worry about our cholesterol and our bad cholesterol and our total cholesterol when it comes to cardiovascular health and getting a heart attack or a stroke, right? Because there's so much research that shows that. And so if we have high cholesterol, we are at a higher risk of having a heart attack and a stroke. And then you eliminate fiber, you eliminate your plant sources, you eliminate your phytochemicals, right? And those, your your antioxidants that are helping you with protecting your cells, right? We're almost like a ticking bomb here. So that's, it overall in our bodies in just general. Now we haven't even talked about the load that it puts our kidneys, right? As you increase your protein, your animal protein, it puts a huge load on the kidneys, right? Because your kidneys are the ones that have to eliminate the waste of meat, right? The waste of animal products. And that, and it turns into blood urea nitrogen and creatinine. And creatinine, that's what I meant to say. And so if you already have kidney issues, which the majority of the population have no idea what their kidney function is. So here is a call to action for you. You need to know what your kidney function is and what the trends have been for the past 5 years. Longer if you need to, but at least for the past 3 to 5 years. Because if your kidney function has been declining, which it does 1% every so often, natural, but if it's 5%, 10%, that is significant, right? Because now we're going to get into chronic kidney disease. And if that is the case, right, going into the carnivore diet is not going to help your kidneys. On the contrary, you are going to damage your kidneys to dialysis. Pay attention to your labs, pay attention to what your body is telling you, and don't go into these extremes, right? I know it sounds like, on the opposite here, and you're like, this is so biased, but it is not. I'm giving you the information that is available. As a dietitian, I don't support the carnivore diet at all. When my clients ask me, I give them this information and we talk about the research. We talked about what it has shown. We don't have, long studies yet, right, of the risk that it has for someone that has been on the carnivore diet for a long period of time. But even influencers that started saying, oh, let's follow that and whatever, they started to add plant sources because they were feeling sick, right? And they needed to add antioxidants, blueberries, strawberries, whatever. They needed to add these plant sources to be able to feel better, because our bodies need that, right? These are nutrients that our bodies need to function properly and heal and repair. So don't just focus on what you want to do short term. Think about the long-term consequences. Think about your health risk already. If you already have, family history or issues with cancer, don't mess with it, right? Like, you don't want to find out, or you don't want to say, I wish I've known, right? Or I wish someone would have told me, or I wish I have known the risk, right? I'm telling you the risk right now so you can make an informed decision. As I mentioned at the beginning, ultimately, it's going to be your choice, right? But I want you to really, really think about the long-term consequences. Instead, right, what we can do, it really comes back to having these balanced meals, right? Adding a variety of these 5 food groups and making sure that you're getting the nutrients from your foods, right? And adding a variety whenever you can, instead of focusing on something so restrictive, just like any other diet, right? We know that they're not going to work long term. once we stop doing them, whatever result we got, right, we're going to lose them, and then it's going to be twice as harder, right, to deal with it and have to start something new again. So save yourself some time, save yourself your money, right, from any supplements that whoever is trying to sell you, because, that's how they have an agenda and that's how they are going to get their money. So although while the carnivore diet might seem like an easy way to eliminate quote unquote bad foods, I don't like that word. There's not a good or bad food, it's just the amount that we consume. It comes at a cost, with nutrient deficiencies increase the disease risk and potential long-term health complications. And I don't want you to take this also in the opposite way, right? That I'm saying you should not have red meat, you should not have animal products. No. The work here is, how are we going to balance these meals? How are we going to make sure that we're adding our plant sources to help with the fiber, to help our heart health, to help our brain function, right? To help with healing, recovering, and repairing, right? It is truly a balance without complicating it, right? If we add all these foods from these 5 food groups and we make these balanced meals, that's all we really need to focus on, right? Essentially. If you're considering a restrictive diet like that, like the carnivore diet, I strongly urge you to speak with a registered dietitian or healthcare professional first, right? We are going to look at deeply into your labs, right? I always ask my patients, check your labs, right? If I know there is diabetes or high blood pressure, I encourage them to check their kidney function and to make sure that they check the trends, right? Because I often get, and I'm going a little bit off topic here, but I often get these comments. I didn't have chronic kidney disease, or I didn't know that my kidneys were failing, and all of a sudden I am in renal failure. That is not the case. There are signs. If there's chronic kidney disease, it's chronic for a reason. It has been happening for a while now. If it's acute kidney injury, that is different, because that happens fast, right? And oftentimes we'll recover. But if it's chronic kidney disease, that has been happening for years, right? And either sometimes we don't know what to ask. If we don't know, we don't know. But usually the labs will tell you that, right? Okay, your kidney function has been declining for the past 5 years, right? You had a GFR, glomerular filtration rate, which measures kidney function, one of them. It was at 100 5 years ago. It's been, now we are, we are at 50, right? So now we're in chronic kidney disease stage. So you really have to look at your labs. Don't just go and do labs and be like, oh, okay, I did the labs. My doctor said everything was okay. And that is all. You have to ask questions, right? Okay, how are my labs the year before? Or you have to compare them, right? Now that you have my chart or a way to look at your labs, compare the trends of every single lab that you get, right? Just to see how you are doing internally. And that can give you a lot of information. You can make changes based on that, or you can work with a dietitian and your healthcare provider to make the necessary changes to improve your health. Okay, this was a quick one, but I think it will, lots of information. I will link the resources and the research that I quoted on the show notes, so you have it, right? Again, please consult with a dietitian with any nutrition change that you want to make, or that you feel that you need support with, because, we will give you the support that you need. If the dietitian that works with you is not aligning with your goals, or you're feeling that you're not connecting, find another one, right? You definitely have that right, just like when you have that, just the way that you have that right when working with a doctor, right? Or any other professional. All right. Until next time, take care of your health and fuel your body wisely. Bye-bye for now. This podcast, the links and resources provided are for the purpose to educate only and are not a replacement for medical advice or nutrition therapy. I suggest you seek out the help of a trained professional to help you with your specific situation and needs.